once before, but today we have all the details that you need to know about it. To start with the prices, it starts at 11.49 lakhs and here's everything that you get with it. Now the Sierra is based on a new Argos architecture which will have all-wheel drive and hybrid options. So some amount of off-roading capability has actually been built into the Sierra. To start with, you have 405 mm of wading depth. The approach, breakover and departure angles are quite good. You have 205 mm of ground clearance. By the way, that's quite good for this segment. Even with these 19-inch wheels, it looks quite proportionate, as you've already known. And then coming to the wheelbase, it's 2730 mm. That's one of the longest in this segment. Just like the front, you have this single piece 1.6 meter long LED DRL. You get a gesture function like in many new cars. Of course, this power tailgate function is always there. And being this very flat functional shape, just like the original Sierra, Tata Motors managed to carve out a lot of space. Now, you get 622 liters, which is quite good. Now, I'm assuming that's up to the roof. We'll have to check. And then you can also fold down the second row of seats and get 1257 liters, which is quite significant. Now, there are some practical touches here. You can sort of park your parcel tray in this position here. And you have some tow hooks, a 12-volt outlet, and this very neat feature which I think is very functional, where when you have the boot open, considering all the lighting is on the boot, passing cars will still see your car here. Now you know about the face, it's reminiscent of that old Sierra, that mask kind of look that it had, but this DRL, it's a single piece unit that's 1.8 meters in length, and Tata Motors had to work with its suppliers to actually make this happen. This is the first Indian-made car to actually get this technique. And now coming to these headlamps, they are very neatly integrated, but you'll know that they're only 17 mm thick. Again, it's a first for India. It's one of the slimmest headlamps you will find on a car made in India. Now, one of the more notable additions with the Sierra and for Tata in general is that they've launched the new 1.5 litre TGDI Hyperion engine with it, and here's more details about it. Now, this Hyperion engine is meant to compete with some world-class powertrains, so it's come packing. You have most of the tech that you would find in an engine of this type, like this variable cam timing, the direct injection system, and even a variable geometry turbocharger. Now, in terms of outputs, it's making 160 PS and 255 Newton meters. Now, that's par for the course in this segment, but unlike, say, many of the other cars here which are paired with DCTs, this one comes paired with the 6-speed Aisin torque converter. Now, we've seen this in many cars from many other brands, so it's a reliable, known powertrain. Now, Tata is still quite committed to diesel engines, so they've working on this 1.5 litre cryojet engine. It now makes 118 PS and quite a bit more torque than earlier. It makes 260 Nm when paired with the manual and 280 Nm when paired with the 6-speed AT. Now, one notable thing with this engine is that you still don't need a diesel exhaust fluid injection for this. They're still using other LNG technology, so you don't have to keep filling AdBlue in it, just like, say, in the Nexon. Now, you need a whole range of powertrains to be successful in this segment, and just like its main competitors, the Sierra will be available with a base 1.5 litre naturally aspirated engine. Now, this engine makes 106 PS and 145 Newton meters. They're okay, they're not the most or the highest of this kind of engine, but you still get a manual, a 6-speed manual, and the 7-speed DCA that we've seen in the Curve and the Nexon with this engine option. Now, before I tell you more about the interior, one thing you should know is that the slightly higher starting price of the Sierra is because of how much tech and safety it's packing right from the base version. For example, electronic parking brakes are standard throughout the range. You have a telescopic steering which is standard even in the base variant. And of course, there's 6 airbags and everything else that you get in cars these days. Now, coming to this cabin, you'll notice that to start with, unlike many Tatas before, practicality has been given a lot of thought. To start with, you have this very comfortable feature that I really like in expensive cars. You now get it in the C segment, which is good. Now, I forgot to show you from behind, but that Boss mode is there as well. So if you're behind, that added degree of comfort. And unlike, say, in the Nexon, there's loads of space for your bottle holders and your phone. You have this charging spot here, which is quite convenient. You have quite large cup holders and a lot of space for your knickknacks. For example, you can just park your phone anywhere here. There's also this decently sized glove box. Now this space here, it seems a bit bare. I personally feel there could have been a bit more buttons here, but what it actually is a soundbar for that 12 speaker JBL audio system. And then of course you have a lot of bits that are familiar, for example this steering wheel. And now coming to how it's made, now at first glance it looks well made, better than previous Tata cars, and a lot of the textures are really quite nice. This soft finish here has that cushion kind of ridged effect that I really like. This has a fabric kind of effect which is good. There's a decent degree of heft for the air vents, and a lot of the bits touch points feel good. There are some bits that I don't quite like. For example, this floating kind of console here for the mirrors, they're a bit too flimsy. As you can see, they move around a little bit, but a lot of the stalks and so on have also been changed. So in that sense, it's giving off a fairly premium vibe, and there's also a lot of mood lighting and themed bits that have been added to make this more of a nicer place to live in. Now of course we'll come to what is the biggest and most apparent change, these three screens here. Now this is a 10.25 inch screen, which now the UI and so on is very similar to other Tata cars, but it fixes one major problem that the earlier one had. It's not deep and sort of hidden down there, it's right in your face, which is good. It also seems to be of a much better resolution. You now have two 12.3 inch screens. This is familiar. It does everything that you expect from these new Tata cars. So you have your dual zone climate control and your EQI and so on, all your JBL sound modes. And then you come to this screen, which is the new edition. Now what it does is basically give the passenger his own private space. They can even connect their headphones here and listen or watch videos, do whatever they want to. All the arcade stove functions that were there, say in the EV cars, have now been brought here. So you can play games, listen to your music. A lot of the apps have been added here. So as you can see, there's also this relaxed mode, which sort of like a mood, ambient mode, which kind of is just to sort of make you relaxed and take away from the sensation of driving, I guess. Now you also get a head-up display. This particular car does not have it, but it's there. Now a few more of those practical features that you notice come here. Now this is not very well made, as you can see, it's sort of moving around, but it's there. And you also have a vanity kind of mirror and light, and it also extends. Now apart from this, you have a lot of other safety features like level 2 ADAS with a lot more functions. Now there's also the 360-degree camera and more features in the kind of blind view functions that you had. So in every respect, this has been improved over previous Tata cars. Now aside from all the new engines, there's also more simplified kind of drive mode setup that the Sierra gets compared to earlier Tata cars. So you have a city and a sport mode, but the terrain modes, you have rain, normal and rough. And this toggle is quite hefty and nice to use. But just like earlier, you shall have a ventilate function. This seat happens to be powered, the front passenger seat isn't, but you have that other Tata cars have. Now, one of the things you notice with this new architecture is the kind of space that's been sort of extracted from it. It seems to be, at least at first glance, quite space efficient. Now this distance is one of the longest in this segment. It's about 316 mm. So what that means is you have a lot of knee room and leg room, as you can see. And the other new feature, which we didn't speak about in the other video, was this large sunroof. It's supposedly one of the longest that's been worked on in this segment. It's 1525 mm long and 925 mm wide. In fact, it's so large that they had to work backwards to sort of fit it into the car. But what that gives you is that sense of space and airiness that the original Sierra was known for, and that's sort of been carried forward here. Now coming to the other features in this rear seat, I have a 2-step recline for the backrest. I have 2 Type-C chargers, a space here for my phone, more pocket holders here, and then of course this sunshade and one of the speakers from that 12 speaker JBL sound system. Now I can't slide the seat or anything like that, but I do get 3 headrests, and the seat cushioning is very comfortable. I have a good amount of back support, a lot of thigh support. And if I keep talking about the kind of fit and finish that I see here, now at first glance, I have a lot of nice materials. Some of the bits here are soft, a lot of it is also textured plastic, and there's some faux wood. So overall it looks, at least at first glance, quite premium and quite well put together. Now, having said that, this space, if you are sitting here, can sometimes feel a little bit claustrophobic, that big thick B pillar. And also when you pull up this sunshade, you'll notice that this area is not fully covered. Now, you've seen the second row from the inside, but on the outside there's some interesting things going on. Now, one of the reasons this Sierra is not a 3-door and it doesn't have that full glass pane like the original is for crash safety. Now, Tata has worked very hard, like we saw in that demonstration of 2 Sierras actually crashing, which Tata says actually beats the mandated sort of B NCAP norm significantly. We don't have the full crash rating yet, but it's quite evident that this will probably be a 5-star rated car. But coming to some of the details, you'll notice that the seal for the windows is hidden to give you that very flat, clean look, again reminiscent of the older Sierra. This is something Range Rover and Land Rover also do. That's been brought here. And when you come here, you'll notice that this line is completely straight. It's not angled, curved. So it gives it that clean, that horizontal look of the original Sierra. So what do you think about the Tata Sierra now that you have all the specs and features that you didn't know about it so far? Do you think it can beat established rivals from all the car makers it's competing with in that C-SUV segment? And what do you think about the prices, and what do you think the rest of the range will be priced at? Let us know in the comments.